Hello viewers. Dr. Marshall Davidson here for the Doc Parkinson's Journal. Today, I'm here at the office of my neurologist, the brilliant Dr. Peter Jerome. He diagnosed my Parkinson's 5 years ago, and he has been a support and even a friend ever since. Hello, Peter.
Thank you, Marsh, for that generous introduction. I'm very happy to be here to help inform all your viewers. So what is it that you want to know?
I want my readers to get a glimpse of what goes through the mind of a good solid neurologist like yourself when a patient comes to you, worried that they might have Parkinson's disease, or they are having symptoms that make you suspect it.
It's tough, because Parkinson's presents at first in so many different ways. Many patients first complain of something that seems relatively minor. Even Michael J. Fox was first dismissed with a twitch in his pinky finger.
And there are so many other symptoms that don't involve the classic tremor and rigidity that we all typically think of when we think Parkinson's disease.
That's right, Marsh. In fact, before any signs of abnormal movement occur, many patients have other disturbances like nightmares, insomnia, and even depression. In fact, a lot of patients with Parkinson's will tell you that sometime within about 3 years, before having any problems with tremor or movement, they got very depressed. Some to the point of needing treatment. Others will say that for about 2 or 3 years before movement problems even started, they had a lot of tiredness during the day, for no apparent reason.
You're right, Doc. With me, I would wake up every night at about 2 or 3 a.m. and finding myself in an absolute panic. I was tired during the day and fighting depression, all of which started at least 2 years before I noticed even a tremor.
Did you know that of the 10 warning signs for new Parkinson's, only 5 involve abnormal movement?
What are they?
People with Parkinson's often lose their sense of smell. Some have proposed that a test for smell be adopted as a screening test.
Okay, what else?
Well, we talked already about sleep problems. Usually Parkinson's sufferers can fall asleep, but then they wake up in 2 to 4 hours or less. Come on, Marsh, you wrote about this in the Doc Journal. Tell me the other 3.
Okay, Peter, yes, they all relate to abnormal activity in an important nerve from the brain called the vagus. The vagus regulates many of the autonomic processes. Abnormal gut function shows up as constipation. Abnormal control of blood flow shows up as fainting and dizziness. Abnormal control of the voice box or larynx gives people a soft lower voice.
From my experience, I'm going to add daytime sleepiness to that list. My patients with Parkinson's have a heck of a time with that one. It jeopardizes their work. They're often misinterpreted as lazy. Driving can become risky, especially monotonous highway driving can be very hypnotic to them. It's very dangerous.
You know, Doc, of all my symptoms, that's the one that gives me the most trouble in dealing with the real world. You gave me a stimulant medication for my driving. But the daytime sleepiness, it affects other things. I almost never can sit through a lecture or even a movie in a dark theater without falling asleep. Often people think I'm on drugs.
That's such a big problem for Parkinson's patients. Over 70% suffer from EDS, excessive daytime sleepiness. There's even a movement among the neurology community to raise awareness that sleepiness is as much an important feature as any of the movement problems. Even patients are poorly educated about this and think it's from their medication.
Well, I hope that raises awareness. Now what about other signs of Parkinson's that don't involve movement? I know with me I've had an overactive bladder and find myself with the urge to pee at least every hour.
Yes, bladder overactivity is related to the same loss of autonomic control that affects the vagus that you were talking about. Other autonomic functions misfire as well. Okay, I get it, haha. Yes, sexual misfirings, erectile dysfunction and problems achieving orgasm are fairly common. In fact, Parkinson's is one of the few conditions where private insurance will pay for Viagra prescriptions.
Doc, I also wanted to mention another aspect of sleep. About a year before I had any tremor or symptoms of movement, I had a terrible experience.
Yes, I remember you telling me.
It was scary. I woke up with my hands around the throat of my fiancée. Had I not awakened, I might have really hurt her. Since I did not know I had Parkinson's at the time, that single event ruined our relationship. She was terrified about sleeping with me ever again.
Marsh, that's terrible. But it's a textbook example of RBD, REM sleep behavioral disorder. Unfortunately, it is a predictor of future Parkinson's. People become awake, but dissociated from reality, and although many just get frightened by the disorientation, occasionally a few become violent and potentially dangerous. That's why I have been prescribing a small dose of anti-seizure drug called Klonopin.
Is it at all like sleepwalking? I used to do that when I was a student.
Unfortunately, sleepwalkers have a higher rate of Parkinson's disease later in life, but nobody knows why that happens.
Okay, Doc, since my readers, they love top 10 lists, what would you consider the top 10 non-movement related warning signs of Parkinson's disease?
Well, since when you called me yesterday and said you'd be asking me, I cheated and wrote a list.
Great. Then, like David Letterman, let's start with number 10.
Okay, 10 is RBD, the REM sleep behavioral disorder that we just spoke about. And I want to add into the number 10 spot another one, if I may. People with Parkinson's often have new difficulty bringing their eyes to focus as well. This is because control of the pupils is an autonomic function also. Sorry, Marsh, I had to do 2 items in the 10 spot.
Okay, for 10, kind of cheating, but let's move on. Number 9.
9 is sexual dysfunction.
8.
8 is overactive bladder.
7.
Dizziness or fainting.
6.
Softening or lowering of the voice.
5.
Constipation, defined as fewer than 2 bowel movements a day.
4.
4 is disordered sleep. Not much trouble falling asleep, but waking up just a few hours later and often repeating the cycle several times in a night. The awakenings are often associated with unpleasant feelings or nightmares.
3.
Loss of sense of smell.
Yes, for me, food just doesn't have the same subtle tastes, and I find myself over-seasoning my food. Okay, how about number 2?
2 is new psychiatric problem, usually depression or anxiety. Often they occur together.
Okay, drum roll please. Folks, here is Dr. Peter Jerome's number 1 warning sign of Parkinson's disease that doesn't involve movement. What is it, Doc?
My number 1, because in itself, it can be so disabling on its own, is EDS, excessive daytime sleepiness.
Well, we don't want to make our readers tired, so we'll stop here for today. I'd like to thank neurologist Peter Jerome for contributing his time and knowledge to another video presentation by dopadoc.com. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. You can find more about this at our online source for Parkinson's info. Go to Dopadoc's Parkinson's Journal at www.dopadoc.com. That's DOPADOC. Thanks, and see you soon.